Italian Football Podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Italian Football Podcast. I'm Carlo Garganese, joined as always by Nima Tabadi. It is D-Day for the Azzurri. Italy play against Northern Ireland this Thursday in the World Cup qualification playoff semi-final in Bergamo. A must-win game for Italy in order to avoid a third straight failure to qualify for the World Cup. We'll be previewing that game. But before that, we will review the weekend Serie A action. Inter's poor form continues to offer a glimmer of a hope to Milan and Napoli in the Scudetto race. Como are now firm favourites for fourth as they thrash Pisa, while Juventus fail to beat Sassuolo, which allows Roma to catch them. We'll also have our usual Baggio, Premface, and Serie ASS of the week, and we have some more crackers for you there. If you want to support the Italian Football Podcast, receive all of our content that we do throughout the week without any ads, including our free Monday review show, our weekly Q&A episode, plus the Thursday midweek review show, plus interviews, post-match reaction, and much, much more, then go to patreon.com/TIFP, become a subscriber for just $3.99 a month. You can also watch our free episodes and shorter clips on YouTube, and you can become a patron on YouTube memberships, youtube.com/@itsafootpod. You can also sign up to be a paid subscriber on Spotify. So whichever platform you consume us on, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, YouTube, we'd really appreciate if you give us a follow or subscribe to us or like us or give us a 5-star rating. All of that really helps us to grow. And if you've not done so already, do follow us on our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Okay, let's get into today's show. So, before we talk about Italy, let's review the weekend Serie A action. Inter slip up again. They are limping over the finish line. It seemed like they would stroll to the Scudetto, but now they have, for the third game in a row in Serie A, they have failed to win. They draw 1-1 at Fiorentina, which means that they still have a healthy lead, but it's now down to 6 from Milan in second and 7 from Napoli. Of course, those two teams play in the next match day after the international break. So Nima, yeah, a dream start for Inter, but they couldn't keep it up. And in all truth, they didn't deserve to win this game. If anything, I think they probably deserve to lose this game. Would you agree with that?
It was a repeat of the Atalanta game. It's, they start well. They score fairly early, in this game really early, and then they lull themselves to sleep and think the game is over. They lose the initiative. They don't impose themselves. They try to bring down the tempo and control the game, but they're unable to do that, handing over the initiative to Fiorentina. Fiorentina make a couple of changes that give instant effect. Inter's changes are so known and so telegraphed. You could read about them in last week's paper. They always make the same changes. And when they do, it's already too late. They completely concede the midfield, a midfield that is not robust, it's not solid, it's leaky, and allow the opposing team to take over and then equalize, because they don't have a goalkeeper and defense that is solid enough to withstand that kind of and absorb that kind of pressure. And so the opposition equalizes, and then Inter throw the kitchen sink and are unable to win. It's literally Groundhog Day now. Inter are really, really out of form. I think it's expected. They've been in unbelievable form in the Serie A until this point. It was always going to be a situation where you're going to have where they start to stutter a bit. But, 8 games, 3 losses, 3 draws, 2 wins. That's not a limp any more than what happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki was a barbecue accident. This is an Inter that is out of form. This is an Inter that is completely out of form, and it coincides when this, it's like it happens when Lautaro is injured, because this is his Inter. He is the leader. I think now Inter fans are starting to understand just how important he is for this side. It reminds me a lot of when Ibrahimovic was at Inter, in the sense that when he got injured in January that season when they won the Scudetto and he scored 2 on the last day of Parma, they were like 10, 12 points ahead. And then all of that was squandered until the last match day, and he had to come in with one healthy knee in the second half and win the Scudetto for them. If this is his Inter, that was Zlatan's Inter. This is Lautaro's Inter. He is fundamentally important for this Inter. They don't have a leader on the pitch when he's not there. There's no structure. There's no one who grabs games by the scruff of the neck. There's no one who creates order when they're there. It's a problem. When that happened, that was the end of Mancini, effectively, because he was unable to control that team. I think what we're seeing now with Kivu is teams have found him out, and there is no plan B. There's not even a plan A tweak. There's literally just, this is how we play. We play centrally. We try to be more vertical. And if the players aren't able to impose themselves, we're fucked. Just plain up, straight up, jolly well fucked. That's what we are. And teams have completely seen through that. And it's an issue.
I think
relying on. That's also part of it.
I think tiredness is a big reason. Yeah, they look tired. Inter do look tired at the moment. They don't seem to have the same energy as they did. And in this game they shouldn't have been as tired in this game as they looked, because they're playing against a Fiorentina team who, and this is disgraceful, this should be allowed to happen, that played 3 games in 6 days. They played Monday, Thursday, Sunday, which is shocking. Okay, there's an international break and there's nothing they can do on this Sunday game, but they shouldn't have played on the Monday before. But anyway, so they should have been the fresh team. Fiorentina shouldn't have been the ones that were finishing the game so strong, because it was inevitable. That goal was coming. That equaliser was coming, because Fiorentina, I thought, were the better team after the Inter goal, and they should have been level at least at half time. Then I thought in the second half, with the substitution of Acerbi, the first 25 minutes or so of the second half, I thought that Inter completely neutralised Inter tactically, and Fiorentina weren't dangerous at all. And I actually wrote in my notes, I wrote that Fiorentina, the tiredness has set in because of the game. Inter weren't really attacking either. They were just basically playing for the 1-0. But then Fiorentina had this second wind, and then they were full of energy, and Inter looked tired, and Inter only really reacted right at the end. So there's no excuse for the tiredness that Inter showed, but maybe it is just everything also, going from last season, playing the Club World Cup, maybe that's also taken its toll a little bit. Because I do think tiredness is a massive reason for why we're seeing
It is part of it. And it's I don't know how much of it we're seeing, how much of that is what's going on with Marcus Thuram, because that's another thing. The so-called senators are letting Inter down. Barella had an assist, but he wasn't having exactly a fantastic game either. Again, making stupid mistakes. Marcus Thuram is just shocking at this point. He's genuinely unwatchable. He looks like a finished player, like an ex-player playing an exhibition game. Yeah. There's nothing. He just runs around smiling like an idiot. I mean, I've seen people calling him Sorrisone now. Like he's smiling, the smiley. Like he goes around just smiling. What are you smiling for? Like it's starting to annoy everyone. He's just running around like a blithering idiot with a stupid smile on his face, and just not doing anything of any significance or importance to help the team. He's supposed to be a leader of this team. We're not talking about some young striker who just who's just come onto the scene and no one expects. That's Esposito, and Esposito is far more decisive than Thuram is. Thuram offers absolutely nothing, and I think some of that is down to bad form, some of it is physical problems, but also again the tactical issue. Inter don't play like what Inzaghi did was to maximize this team by playing to their strengths, and Kivu is not doing that. And it's starting to show. They're way too vertical centrally. It's very easy for teams to shut off the central, like in order to shut down the middle. Like that's the easiest place to pack the midfield. And if you're going to press that high, it's not that difficult to kind of absorb that pressure and to dominate you. And he has no answers. Kivu, to this. And this substitution of taking Barella off and putting Fratesi on, I mean, you just give away all the initiative and control of the midfield every time you do that, and yet he continues to keep doing that time and time again. He has Çalhanoğlu back now. He's got Zielinski. He's got Sucic. I mean, I don't understand why he keeps bringing Fratesi on to control the midfield. You don't control anything possession-wise with Davide Fratesi on. Davide Fratesi is a dynamic player. He can only function in a certain system, in a certain role. If you're going to play possession-based football, if you're going to dominate, try to absorb pressure, if you want to, you can't have Fratesi on the pitch. Fratesi is more of the kind of guy that make smart runs from deep to rip apart defenses when they're kind of collected, not to replace him with Barella because he can't pass.
I think that's true.
Can't.
I think that's true. There's no anyone will argue with that. But I think in this game, Inter never had control of the midfield in this game. In general, yes, you're right. But in this game, they didn't have control of the game. We'll speak about Fiorentina. I thought Fagioli run this game from start to finish. Inter were really bad in midfield. And this is something we saw at the end of last season as well, where Inter just kept getting dominated in centre midfield, whoever they were playing. That had been rectified this season, and Inter were dominating games in the centre of the midfield. But now, I don't know, maybe it's tiredness, maybe it's Çalhanoğlu, who just hasn't been fit for ages. He's come back, he's got injured, he's come back. Zielinski was great, but maybe he's dropped off a little bit. Sucic had that bright start, but been a bit of a disappointment this year as well. I don't know, but I think it's probably just a bit of everything. I think tiredness is probably the main reason, along with Lautaro being out. I think Inter are fortunate that they had such a big lead, and also that Milan and Napoli are playing each other. So really, I think that realistically, if you look at the running, bless you. If you look at the running as well, I think realistically for Inter to lose the Scudetto, they're going to need one of Milan or Napoli to basically win every game.
Which is not important. And I'm looking at Napoli.
And they're going to need Inter to have one of the biggest collapses we've ever seen. Well, it would be one of the biggest collapses we've ever seen. So I think I think it's unlikely, but at least now it gives a little bit of hope to those teams. And from the neutral point of view, it does give us a bit of a glimmer of a hope for a bit of a title race, which is what we want. You don't want that.
Inter have got Roma at home after the international break and Como away. And then they got Cagliari, Torino, Parma, and then Lazio away, Verona at home, Bologna away. I don't think at this point with six, they've completely invited Napoli and Milan back into the Scudetto race. We have a title race on our hands. It's perfectly plausible for this Inter that we saw last season with those demons returning because of their lackadaisical approach and all of the things we've discussed. It's perfectly possible for Inter to produce the biggest choke job ever. It's absolutely possible for them to throw away another Scudetto. It's absolutely possible. They have a history of doing it. So
that's what it would be. That's what it would be. I agree with you there, but I think it's too early to say we have a title. 6 points, 7 points with 8 games left. When Milan and Napoli have to play with Inter's, it's a pretty kind run. Okay, the next 2 games are tricky. The Roma game, you're at home, you should win that. Roma are decimated. Como it's a very hard game given how well they're playing. So I think we'll know after those 2 games whether we really have a title race. If the gap closes to 4 or something, then or 3, and then after those 2 games, then yes, then we have a title race, because then the pressure comes on, and Kivu, young manager, all that. Then it's on. But at least it opens the door. And for us neutrals, that's great. I do want to praise Fiorentina though, because I think that Fiorentina play like this, they're not going to go down. They had obviously Cremonese winning was a bad result for them. It reopens the relegation door for Fiorentina, but they played great in this game. I thought that Fagioli was absolutely fantastic in this game. I thought he completely run the midfield, and it's weird with Fagioli because every now and then Fagioli seems to pull one of these performances out of his arse where he looks like Pete Xavi. He's a metronome. He just runs the game. The way that he breaks the press, the way that he turns in tight areas out of pressure, his short game, his low center of gravity. I think twice a season, Fagioli plays like peak Xavi. Honestly, he does. But the problem is his consistency. The problem is the other 30 games a season, he's weak physically. You can't rely on him in certain types of games, certain types of opponents. In the right type of game, when he's on it, Fagioli looks like a world class. He looks like a world beater. He looked like, and this was an example of that. And he's a joy to watch. I love watching him. I thought he was absolutely fantastic to watch in this game. I thought Ndour as well. He got the equaliser, and he's in good form. And I think that's a positive thing, also for Italy as well. I think he's got 2 goals and assists in his last 3 games. He's actually got 5 goals all season in all competitions. So that's a positive. Also for Fiorentina, I thought Ndour was excellent down the right. I thought that Moise Kean, even though he had a bad miss, I thought he was very lively in this game, which is good for Italy ahead of the World Cup playoffs as well. So all in all, I thought it was a good team performance. I thought there was lots of good individual performances, and I like Fiorentina. I did. I think if they play like this, no problem at all them staying up.
No, but I really like Ndour as well. I thought he was really good. No, they look good, but it's not going to be easy for them because I think Cremonese with Giampaolo, I don't know, I'm not his biggest fan, but he seems to have jolted some energy into Cremonese, and they look like that new manager bounce kind of thing. I don't know. It's going to be tricky. And Lecce you've got as well. Cagliari are now in this. They're only 3 points off. So it's a very spicy end to the season. But I do hope that Fiorentina, they got Crystal Palace as well in the Conference League, which we hope they kind of overcome. Because if they overcome Crystal Palace, there's no one in the way of them winning the trophy, in my opinion. They should go all the way and win that thing.
No, I think there's is it Rayo Vallecano? Are they?
Yeah.
Am I got that? Are they got that? They're Conference League, aren't they? Yeah. But I think Rayo Vallecano are in it. They could be dangerous. But yeah, I agree. So yeah, it's good. It's good to see that Fiorentina playing better. Let's move on to Milan. Very important win for Milan. For me, they played badly in the first half, and they were lucky to be level. At half time, Torino with a better team, but then the second half they were much better, and apart from giving away that silly penalty right at the end to make things nervous, I thought that they were good second half, and so they got the win, down to 6 points now. I can't see them putting a run together to challenge in. So I think if someone is going to put that run together,
it's Napoli.
It's Napoli. Yeah, I don't think Milan are playing well enough. They're struggling too much even to beat these smaller teams. We've seen their record against the smaller teams. And they have actually quite a difficult run-in. They've got Napoli away. They've got Juventus. They've got, is it Atalanta as well? They've got the hardest run-in out of the 3 teams. So I don't see Milan. But listen, it's 6 points now. They'll just be kicking themselves for that Lazio game. Because if they'd have won that Lazio game, it'd be 3 points now. And then it really is Scudetto race right on. So yeah, it's a mixed emotions for Milan. But yeah, it sets up the Napoli game next week. Really fascinatingly, doesn't it? Because both teams.
2 weeks from now, isn't it? It's not next week.
Well, yeah, next week. It's Monday. Next week is it's on the.
It's Monday.
Yes, and next week is next week. Next week.
No, it's 2 weeks away. It's 2 weeks away.
Nima, what is it? You and listen, can I just tell everybody? Nima and time. Like,
no, it's 14 days left. How is it next week?
But it's next week. You said next week they're playing them. They're playing them at the weekend next week. That is part of next week. It's part of next
2 weeks
week.
Away.
2 weeks time would be the week after. Fucking hell, Nima. I remember us having an argument once. Where I think it was October, and there was a game in March, and you were saying, in 3 months' time, and I'm like, no, it's in like November, December, January, February, March, 5 months' time. And you were adamant that it's 3 months.
It felt like 3 months. It felt like 3 months. Yeah. No, but look, I think Pavlovic scored a fantastic goal. I love that goal. It was a brilliant goal. He's a wonderful goal. But he's the inconsistency with him. Like, you never know what you're going to get, and I think that's part of the problems that I think Milan have had. Not just him; he's been actually pretty good, but I mean, just generally speaking, in the sense that they tend to have these kind of like brain fart moments in their defense where they give away points, and it's cost them a lot this season as a result of it. I think the reason why they're not in a title race and 9 draws kind of is a testimony to that, is that structurally they're really sound. Defensively, they're sound. I think in attack overall this season, they've been good. Allegri's put something in place. The problem is, I feel that they struggle. They tend to make these like unnecessary mistakes, and they are a little bit too inconsistent. I think in terms of individual quality, and I think that's why they're not.
Yeah. Small games. The big games, their record must be the best. I'm certain it is the best record in Serie A for the big matches. The big game record is absolutely magnificent. But yeah, these kind of games they continue to struggle in. I just want to say like one thing about Torino, and that is Vlasic. I think he's one of the most underrated players in Serie A, and I think he's good enough for a much bigger club than Torino. I put him in a kind of similar category to someone like Elmas, who's been like is a useful player for Napoli. And Vlasic, he's got the 4th most goal involvements in Serie A of the last 5 years, which for the teams that he's played for is pretty impressive. I really like him. Really good on the ball, technical. And also shout out to Simeone, who's in good form, scored a goal, won the penalty, and he's shown that he's still, if you want a goal scorer, he's a useful player to have in your team. He's
exactly where he should be, I think. I mean, that's the level he is in, and Torino have been lacking a goal scorer for quite some time. So no, I'm really, really happy for them. That he's there, and I think he suits them really well. And it'll be interesting to see what Torino do now, like moving forward next season, if they can find some sort of stability. I mean, it's been a little bit so and so for the last few years, hasn't it? With Cairo and who's in charge and what's the project and what are we going to do and blah 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 blah. So yeah, we'll see.
Absolutely. Let's move on to Napoli. They score right at the beginning of the game. Okay, we're having some technical problems today, but we're back. Napoli score right at the beginning of the game. 2 minutes, scrappy goal from McTominay. But they were in control of the game after that. They didn't really risk much, and they deserved to win. I think 1.77 XG to 0.35 XG pretty much tells the story of this game. And Napoli now have 4 wins in a row, which is no coincidence. Since they start playing once a week, they go on these winning runs. I thought they were more in control. I don't think they played particularly well. The games have been 1-goal wins, and they've scraped a lot of these wins. So I don't think I don't think they're particularly playing well enough to go on that long run. But this game, there was definitely a step forward, and you can definitely see them putting a run together because they are playing once a week, and they have a good run in. The Milan game is key for them. They have to win that game against Milan. They have to win that game and then just keep winning and see where it takes them. Yeah, not too much to say about Napoli other than they got the win. And the Lobotka incident is a controversial one. There's been a lot of debate. Should he have been sent off? Should he have not? It's one of those tricky ones, isn't it? He kind of gets the ball, goes in for the ball, and then the foot goes through. It's one of those where it can be given. Do you know what I mean? What did you think of the Lobotka incident?
I think it's we've seen red cards for those situations. Let's put it that way. Yeah. I think it definitely is possible. Yeah, I mean,
it's on the borderline, isn't it? It's one of them.
Yeah.
You couldn't argue if it got given. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, there's not really much to say. I mean, Napoli get a clean sheet, so that they haven't had many of those. Bookma was better in this game, but there's not really much else to say about Napoli.
I just want to say that, like, I think Napoli, you know, you look at the games they got left, and there's quite a few that they should win. But if I'm looking at Napoli in the sense that I'm not sure they're out of the Scudetto race. Like, honestly, I think with Inter looking the way they're doing, Milan being as inconsistent as they are, I think at the end of the day, like with all the players coming back, I think Napoli will. I mean, I'm looking at it now: Udinese, Pisa, Cremonese, Parma. Those are 4 wins, and then you've got Milan, Lazio, Como, and Bologna. I wouldn't be surprised if they went and won 6 2 draws, and that's 20 points, and they're on. What are they on now?
They have to win more than that, because if they drop points in 2 games, that means Inter have to drop points in 5 or 6 games.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, it does.
Well, not necessarily, because Inter can lose to Como and Roma. That's 6 points gone. And then they've got Bologna away and Lazio.
Yeah, but then that's 4 points gone from Napoli if they even draw 2 games. So that, I think Napoli, if they want to win this, 7 points is a lot of points when there's only 8 games left. So, you know, Napoli, I think Napoli have to win. Napoli have to win basically all of their games, or 7 wins and a draw at the very minimum, if they want to have a chance of winning the Scudetto. So it's a tall ask. But I think if anybody can do it out of Milan and Napoli, I think it's Napoli.
Yeah,
because they're playing once a week. That's my point.
But it's funny, because if they get the 20 points that I'm talking about, they're again on 82 points, and 82 points was enough last year to win the Serie A. We didn't think it was going to be enough this year, and I still don't think it'll be enough. I think 85, 86 is where it's going to end up. Yeah, look, it's not impossible. It's not impossible. It's not impossible that we end up in a situation where another low tally. But I think it's unlikely, because I expect Inter to. I mean, Inter got Como and Roma. They got Cagliari, Torino, Parma, Lazio, Verona, Bologna. And yeah, look, I don't think no one's going to hit 90 points this season. I think that's impossible.
I think so. That's for sure. Como, though, are now looking like strong favourites. Can we say that for 4th place? They thrash Pisa 5-0, 5 different scorers. They're looking great for 4th. They're now 3 points above Juventus. They have a really, really kind run-in. Only 8 games left. They're looking great. Como are a team that, I mean, again, I'll say I was the first one that said, watch out for Como. They could get in the top 4.
Yeah, you did.
And if I pull that off, because I said the same for Bologna a couple of years ago, 2 teams out of nowhere. So I would give myself a tap on the back for that. But I will say this: look, they're ahead of they're ahead of where they expected to be. That's for sure. They've done an amazing job. But there is the other side. Of course, there's the other side to the coin. There's going to be this debate. Are they good for Italian football? This entire season, 1 minute played by an Italian for Como in the whole season. That's Goldeniga, who played in September for 1 minute as a late substitute in injury time. That's it. Is that good for Italian football? Obviously, it's not good for the Italy national team. Of course, it's not. But I do think there's a lot of things that other clubs should learn from Como. I do. The way that this club is built to produce, develop young players, the type of football they want to play. They're kind of like, they're forward thinking. The way that they do things, we'll see how sustainable it is financially once they're in Europe, once the FFP gaze will be on them in terms of how much money they're bringing in organically when it comes to commercial revenue, when it comes to match day revenue, when it comes to TV revenue, whether they can continue. That's going to be difficult. But up until this point, if you look at all the things they've done, it's been an amazing job. They could even win a trophy this season as well. They're in the semi-final, second leg. I think Fabregas is a wonderful coach. I think the club's been run wonderfully. But at the same time, yes, the Italian point of view. But is that something that should be blamed on Como? Or is Como actually doing a good thing for Italian football in that they're actually demonstrating and highlighting how the failures elsewhere that they're only... Do you know what I mean? I think you can look at it both ways in that sense. Do you know what I mean?
And I think they kind of also, it's further fuel to the fire about this thing about the problem about Italian football is that they're not playing young players. Well, they are playing young players, and they've decided not to play a single young Italian player. So why is that? Because maybe the talent pool out there isn't good enough, which is, it's not one or the other. I think it's all of the above. Italy is not producing the best players overall as they used to, and the players aren't being given a chance. It's like a wicked circle. It's kind of, one bad thing leads to another. And I think Como have kind of shown that actually you can play young players and do well, but they're not playing any Italian players, young players, because they don't think that those players are there for them to use and utilize in their system, which is kind of adds fuel to the fire to both of these debates. And I think that's what I've been arguing all along. I don't think it's just that there's no room for Italian players that's the problem. Of course that's a problem, but I also don't think Italy are producing the talents either. I think if anything, the results at youth level that we've seen, I think, are mainly down to Italy being at that level, focusing more, being more results based and being tactically more astute than the competitors they play at youth level, and that has paid our dividends in them reaching finals and winning and so on and so forth. There's not been a superstar youth player at any of those teams. I'm sorry. None of them have been superstars.
Kamada was in his, but look, I think that part might.
And how well is Kamada doing? I mean, this is my point.
Listen, the point I'm making is this. The point I'm making, I think there might be some truth to that. Certainly, results based is an issue further down the line. If you go back to under 11s, under 12s, under 13s, that's something that's been spoken about, that they need to stop. Even Gravina said it, actually, of all people, last week. But I think the problem is the development. It's developing the talents, not necessarily producing them in the first place. Like producing them at under 15s, under 16s, under 17s, and then they do well at those levels, at youth level, even for the Italy national team. We've seen how well they've done towards. But then it's that development phase between probably 16 and 19 or 16 and 20. That is where we're not doing it right. And I think that's the biggest problem. I don't think it's necessarily producing talents. Now, when it comes to Como buying young players that they want to then play in their team, as Fabregas has done, they're not looking at 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old or 18-year-olds. They're looking at 19, 20, 21-year-olds. By the time that it comes to the players they want to pick, they haven't developed. And I think it's that period between 16 and 19 where something is very, very badly wrong in Italian football.
I don't think it's just that. I don't think it's just that.
I think that's the number one reason.
I think there's a reason why it's wrong between 16 and 19, and that is because it's too results based before that, and even during.
There you go. Whatever the reason is, there's a reason.
Like this is my point.
I'm saying there isn't. We can't say we're not producing talent at 16, 17 years old because we're winning all those youth tournaments just like we were.
Because we're because Italian football is because the coaches are better and they're tactically much more astute and they're results based. Whilst most other teams at that level are not interested in that per se. The most important thing is to play a certain style, deliver a certain model, produce players and get them to hammer them into playing and getting them used to playing in a certain style and developing in that mold. Can someone tell me what Italy's style is at under 15, 17, 19? No, because there is no coherent style. But I can tell you I can tell you what Spain does, England does, Germany does. That's the point I'm making. This is again this kind of thing where people point to so that Gravina can say, "Look how good we're doing at youth level." Yeah, results-wise, it looks very good. But what are you producing?
We're making the same point. We're literally agreeing with each other. I'm saying that we are producing talent, but then we're not developing them from 16 to 19. And there are reasons for that. And they might be part of what you're saying. It might be that we're too results based. It might be that. Well, I think it's obviously a training issue.
I think it's all of the above.
We're not developing them right. And I've been saying for years now that we should have an identity and like a system and a style of play, and if it means a formation as well, so be it. That we do throughout our youth teams. That doesn't mean
a red thread.
Doesn't mean we don't have a plan B, but it means that because we should have a plan B. But it means that if you're under 12, under 13, under 14, under 15, under 16, under 17, under 18, under 19, Primavera team, all play the same style of play. They all learn the same movements, the same patterns of play, the same formation maybe as well. Then when it comes to moving up from those youth levels into the senior
easier.
team, it's easy because they already know the patterns and the style. Now in Italy, we don't do that. One manager, the manager of the under 12 team plays a 4-4-2. The manager of the 13s plays a 3-5-2. The manager of the 15s plays long ball. The manager of the 16 plays passing. It's impossible.
And that's the point. And that's the point I'm making.
That's one example. There'll be other stuff. There'll be the physical training. There's obviously an issue.
There's lots of things.
There was a study that came out last week about the lack of intensity in Serie A compared to other leagues. How much less we run, how many less sprints we do compared to other leagues. There's lots of things that we can look at. But Como have actually do it in that sense. They're doing things the right way. Then, of course, there's the Italian issue, and they're providing nothing for the Italy national team, and that's a big problem. But
I think what they're doing
is
how
much do we blame them, or how much are they highlighting the problem?
No, I think they're highlighting the problem again. It's not Como's responsibility to produce players for the Italian national team. Como's responsibility is to do well for Como, and that's what they're doing. And they're doing it by showing that actually you can use young players and be successful. Then the question is, well, why isn't anyone else doing that? And where are all the Italian talents? Like they're forcing certain questions to be asked just by doing well and using the model they're doing. I mean, they're not, they tried to bring in, the Moratas and Varans and all that, but they kind of quickly moved away from that because they realized that, these players are old. They just cost a lot of money. Yes, they have experience, but they don't really offer anything. And they've been all flops, the experienced players. And instead, they've created a nurturing and calm environment with a young coach, Fabregas, who gets along with these players, manages to get inside their heads. And as he's learning, so are they. And I think it's one of those positive cycle things. And so, no, I think Como, good or bad for Italian football, I think it's the wrong question to ask. Como are doing well. They're doing well by playing young players. That shows that you can do well in the Serie A by playing young players. The question then is, why isn't everyone else doing it? Why isn't Inter Milan and Juve doing, or Napoli doing it as well? Why are they? Just like they're forcing a question to be asked.
I think people. I'm not removing any blame from Como, but I'm saying that people are blaming Como for the problem rather than looking at the cause of the problem. It's a bit like, to use a really bad example, it's a bit like stupid people blaming immigrants for draining society, rather than if they
those
want
who created the situation,
those who created the situation that forces people to immigrate to your country, i.e., going to Africa, going to the Middle East, and causing wars and unrest there. And as a result, people leave those countries, which is going to happen even more now with what's going on in the world. And they come in. Okay, if you want to say they drain society or whatever, that's another debate to be had, and there's a lot more other reasons. But
but you want to go to the root cause. The
problem is, if you want to have a problem with it, blame your government for creating the problem. Don't blame the problem itself.
The cause and effect. The cause and effect. You want to go to the root cause of the problem, and the root cause is that Italian football for a long time now has not been able to. There's no pathway for the youth. The training methods are outdated. The way that Italian football is played is the intensity is lower. It's like, like the Serie A's marketing. They're selling Walkmans in a world where everyone's streaming on Spotify. It's that's just how it is. And so it's all of the above. It's not one thing or the other. It's all of the above. And it's and I think Como's success highlights that. Como's success shows, well, actually, you can succeed playing young players if you create the right environment, if you have the right coach, if you have the right structure in place, and if you do your scouting really well. And then the question is why.
What I would like to see Como do, though, especially as they've been so forward thinking, I would like them to set up a proper youth academy where they bring in Italian players at the age of, even younger, 13, 14, 15, 16. Develop from there, then let's see. Because then, if they do that, then nobody can have a go at Como, because then they really are showing up Italian football. So I would say to Como, if you really want to win people over, including myself, because I'm a little bit kind of divided. I kind of see both sides of the argument here, not on this issue, but in general on Como. I want to see them, because then we'll see what is the reason. Because they've got an anti-Italian way of thinking on many things, which I wish people would learn from in Italian football. But anyway, let's move to a club that has many problems in the way that the club is run, and that is Juventus. Massive blow for the top four. This is an unacceptable draw against Sassuolo, against a team that completely decimated by illness, a whooping cough that went through the team. A whooping cough, still a thing, eh? Just completely knocked out the Sassuolo team, and half their team was out, and Juventus still couldn't beat them. I think once again, I've been saying this so many times, that this draw highlighted Juventus's problem in front of goal in terms of the lack of a proper number 9, and the lack of goals offensively in the team, in the two front departments, the midfield and the attack. And this has been an issue all season. They play a false 9 in this game, Borga, who has been very good, but obviously he's not a false 9. And they have given up now. Spalletti has officially given up on Jonathan David and Openda, because not only does he play a false 9, but he actually brings on Arik Milik, who hasn't played for 2 years, instead of bringing on David and Openda. And I think that says it all. Vlasic came on as well. Juventus, again, and this has been a problem this season and last season, Juventus lacked the punch to finish off games. They're 1-0 up, total control. They should have killed the game. And then Sassuolo get an equaliser out of nothing. Their only shot on target in this entire game. They score. Juventus had lots of chances to win the game after. Of course, they missed a penalty. Locatelli with one of the worst penalties I've ever seen. Awful penalty. Let's hope that we don't go to a penalty shootout for Italy in these next 2 games. Hopefully 2 games. I don't want him taking one after that. I think it's a very simple reason. And this has held back Juventus because they've been playing well under Spalletti. And actually, I mean, look at these numbers. This says it all. Juventus' expected points is 6 points lower than, or their expected points is 6 points higher than their actual number of points. They have the biggest negative differential in the league, if that makes sense, and you have to go right down to the relegation places. Their expected goals is 7 higher than their actual goals. So that again is damning. That shows that they're missing chances. That's on the forwards. That isn't on, you're unable to create chances. They're just not putting them away. And their expected goal against is positive by 0.01, which is actually the worst in the league until you get down to 14th place. So their goalkeeper is not winning them any points, unlike all the other teams from 13th up to first. That Juventus are actually second for expected points in the league. So Juventus, based on the expected points, which generally over the course of the season is kind of what happens, but you do get anomalies, you're going to. But they're second. They should be second behind Inter, Juventus, based on their expected points. And they should be 8 points ahead of Como. So for all the issues that Juventus have on and off the pitch, and that is obvious, we've been through them. The biggest reason, despite all that, why they are now really at serious risk of failing to qualify the Champions League, which will be devastating sportingly and financially for the club, is basically at either end. The basics. They don't have a number 9. They don't have enough players that can finish chances. So they're not scoring. They're not putting away their chances. And at the other end, their goalkeeper, Di Gregorio, for most of the season, I think it's 14 games this season where he exceeded the first shot on target. Perrin adds another one here by himself in this game. So that's 15 at least games this season where Juventus have conceded their first shot on target. So it's a very simplistic way of looking at things, but that is basically the problem. Number 9 all season. Obviously, Vlasic has been injured. If they had a top number 9, they would have no problems right now, and a better goalkeeper. They'd have no problems here in being in the top 4. They would be second. So it's a weird one with Juventus, but it's very frustrating.
No, I think that I agree with that. If you look at the underlying total or underlying stats, that's the picture that's painted, and I think that kind of proves the point that, oh my God, in Juventus's history, in all of Italian football, like after Marotta, you had Paratici, who almost bankrupted the club, and then you bring in Giuntoli, who, I mean, has there ever been? I mean, you can say that given, like, if you look at Juve.
Yes, Comoli is worse. Yes,
I mean, that's the thing. Like,
worse. Comoli is the worst of all so far.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, you look at Giuntoli, but all of this is Giuntoli. They're still cleaning up after him. They brought in Giuntoli to clean up after Paratici.
Not cleaning up, Nima. They're like a kid with a paintbrush throwing it all at the wall.
That's what I mean. It's like Paratici made a mess. They brought in Giuntoli to clean that up. He spray painted shit on the walls. And now they've got
Comoli's it's supposed to be redecorating, and he's throwing paint on the wall like a kid. With a paint set. I mean,
it's just one mess after another. But
Juventus don't have a single player in their team that was a Comoli signing. That says it all.
That's the thing, though. I think that's what maybe. I was.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna. That's why I'm thinking that could we argue perhaps that Giuntoli, in terms of the money he spent and the players that he bought, that he's the worst sporting director in Juventus's history, because I'm looking at every single player from like Douglas Luiz, Teun Koop Miners, Di Gregorio. I mean, it's just
he had a
failure.
Thuram's been good. Kelly's actually been decent in the end. Not Juventus quality, but we can't say he's been a flop. But listen, Paratici started it off, and Paratici basically could get Tottenham relegated as well. So,
well, I don't think we should hold that against him. I think we should. That's something. That's a great thing he did. We love him.
He could get Tottenham and Fiorentina relegated. Well, he can't really blame for Fiorentina, but he could get Tottenham and Fiorentina relegated in the same season. Could you believe that? That would be Paratici special, wouldn't it? Both two teams relegated in the same season. But yeah, listen, I think that Juventus have also had a bit of bad luck as well. I mean, there's been so many games under Spalletti where they've deserved to win these games. Whether it's been just really bad luck in front of goal, an inspired goalkeeper. I mean, Muric was inspired in this game. There's been so many of them, and the referee. And although in this game they got a kind, well, I'd say kind penalty on the rules. By the law, it's a penalty, but it's one of those which should never be a penalty. It's just back to the stupid handball rule. But they blew it. So in this game, they can't complain. But they have been, generally this season, they've had bad refereeing as well. That's cost them points as well. So they've been unlucky as well. But at the same time, again, if the Juventus want to be the club that they should be, and a bit like we're saying about Italy and Italian football, they need to just put this kind of bad luck aside, and they need to look at themselves, because this club is, and when we come to Serie ASS of the week, I have a belter of what I'm talking about. So it is what it is. What I want to say I do want to say one other thing though. Again, going against my own point, the referees in Serie A. Or the authorities need to do something about the time wasting. It's becoming ridiculous in Serie A. Muric in this game was absolutely disgraceful. Every single goal kick, he was taking like a minute to time wasting. Like something they need to do, and free kicks as well. And I see other teams doing this as well. I think they need to put like a clock. Every single time there's a free kick, you've got 20 seconds to take the free kick or something like that.
I think the only way to get away from this is but I think the only way to get away from this is to do what they do in ice hockey and have effective play. You can't have 90 minutes anymore. Like, we need to get rid of that. It has to be 30 minutes each half effective play. Stop the clock as soon as the ball goes out of play, because and then you don't have time wasting. I think football generally needs to move away from this, because then you get away from this stupid added time, extra time, injury time, all of that nonsense. Like, no, stop it. You need to have effective. If you're going to make a reform in football to actually help the game, make it 20 or 25 minutes effective play. Like, stop because this is it will never stop. And then you get away from all this nonsense as well, whether it's 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. But like, you've got ways to calculate how much of it is effective time on average per game, and then you kind of put it around there. I think it's something like 25 or 27 minutes each half of effective play. So you've got 15 to 17 minutes each half, which is just a waste of time. And just, I think that way you just get rid of this nonsense, because it won't matter. Nobody time wastes when the clock is stopped. Like, you're an idiot if you do that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's no. I
agree.
So I think that's one of the reforms I'd like to see in football. Like,
I agree. It's just what that. Yeah, it's deciding what that would be. What would that minute be? Would it be 60 minutes, 65 minutes? How long should the effective time be? I mean, that's
2025. I think 2025. 2025.
2025.
20-25 minutes. 20 minutes, 25 minutes effective play. Something like that.
What, 45 minutes total?
Yeah, but you stop the clock. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's not.
That's less effective time than we have now.
No,
never in time. Never in time.
No, listen. No, I think the effective football per half is an average 25 minutes. So if you have like 20-25 minutes clock, it's still it doesn't, like, it's still
effective enough though. That's the problem though. It's not enough effective time. We need it to be more effective. Anyway,
the problem is that, the point I'm making is that, like, if you've got, like, the 45 minutes is almost half of it is wasted on time wasting, arguing with the referee, stop play. When the ball is actually in play, is about 25 minutes, 27 minutes, something like that. If you keep that to 25 minutes to stop the clock, you get the same, but you get rid of this time wasting stuff because there's no point in doing it. Does that make sense? Like just like you do in other sports where you've got an effective, like you've got a clock that you have to play against. You can't time waste because, it just makes it more, compressed, if that makes sense.
You get rid of the. You're saying you get rid of the lack of rhythm and that kind of stuff. But I think exactly. I think it should be, but it needs to be longer than that. That's for sure. The problem is there's not enough time as well. But anyway, we're arguing over, we're splitting hairs. Right. I do want to say one thing about the penalty, though. As I said, like by the laws, it's a penalty. But again, these are just such ridiculous penalties. Like. And it reminds me of the Kelly red card, Champions League qualification, right? If you look at this incident, the defender is getting pulled by, because he's jostling for the ball with the Juventus attacker, who I've forgotten who the attacker was. And as a result, the defender is off balance. And because he's off balance, his arm comes up. And therefore, the ball hits his arm because he's off balance, because he's getting pulled and pushed by the attacker. Now, he cannot be made responsible for that when the ball then hits his arm? It's just ridiculous. And it gets headed at him from close range. Now, again, I know by the laws that that's a penalty, but this is the point I was making with the Kelly red card, where he's basically pushed when he jumps for the ball. He jumps and he lands in his own landing zone, and he's pushed and off balance when he lands as well. So how on earth can the player be responsible for that? I mean, this is where there needs to be a bit of common sense, where referees need to stop making the laws based on just black and white. Oh, these are the rules. Yeah, this is the law. Yeah.
No, they have to. No. The referees should apply the laws of the game as they are. If you want to change the laws of the game, you should go to IFAB and tell them to do their job properly. The referees are not there to invent the laws of the game.
No,
you're complete chaos.
No, I'm saying that the laws of the game should allow for some common sense when judging these incidents. That's what I'm saying. And
it doesn't, because they get hammered if they do. I mean, that's the thing. The referees they don't have a choice. Well, no, they're told to look at it.
It should be part of the law that if a player is going up for a header, and he gets pushed, and as a result of getting pushed, he's off balance. And because he's off balance, he either heads the ball, he handles the ball, or he lands in a way that ends up hurting an opponent because he's been pushed off balance. Then that should be in the law book, so that needs to be taken account by the referee. It's not hard. Just put it in the law book. Just put it in the
but it's it's about redefining the applications of it, and that's not up to every referee to do at an individual level. That's up to IFAB.
No, I'm saying that's exactly my point. Again, we're agreeing on the same thing. I'm saying that needs to be in the laws. That does, because it's
they need to reform it. They need to reform lots of things, and I want to see, like, the handball offense needs to be completely overhauled now, because the way that these penalties and offenses are given now every week is just, I mean, you had Pongracic, Bisek, and the Atalanta game last week. I mean, it's just not the Atalanta game. With Inter, I mean, it's just, we can't have it like this. It literally is a lottery now. Whether you need to make a decision whether or not, if the arm is by the body, if it's like, they need to be clear. They need to make it much more black and white, because right now it's a complete lottery. Yeah, I don't think any of them are a penalty. That's my perspective. But right now, it's just, it literally is just like the famous Mourinho quote: throw 10 coins on the table and whatever state. Like there's no, right now it literally is just,
I think that's the case with everything, especially in Serie A this season. Whatever it is, a penalty, a free kick, a handball,
there's no uniformity, there's no coherence. It literally is just, inshallah it goes well.
Yeah. Okay, listen, I have to go in 10 minutes, so we're going to have to rush through the rest of these fixtures. We still need to preview Italy. So Roma, Lecce, look, important win for Roma. They didn't play well. They didn't deserve to win. But, Robinho Vaz came on and scored. And he was actually lively in Europe as well, off the bench as Bologna. So hopefully he's somebody that can now kick on. Roma catch Juventus. But the negatives are that the injuries are piling up. Mancini injury as well. We don't know how bad that is. And also some reports of problems in the leadership. Gasperini didn't speak after the game. There's a lot of reports that one of Gasperini, Ranieri, or Massara will leave at the end of the season. So obviously that's not
well,
good.
it's not. I mean, the season's over for Roma. Let's be honest. I mean, they're out of the Europa League.
It's not. They're fighting for fourth place.
Yeah, but they're not going to get that. That's the point I'm making. They're not going to catch Como. They're not going to.
They're only 3 points.
No, they're not going. They're not going to catch Como with the injuries they've got. They're out of the Europa League. There's turbulence at the club with whatever calm and peace there was is gone. I think it's sad. It really is sad. And I don't blame anyone but the owners. Again, they put certain things in place, but they weren't able to back it up. And now you have a volatile character like Gasperini there. He's not. It wouldn't surprise me if he just left because he's pissed, because he wants to. He was probably promised things that are not being met, and they had an unbelievable chance here, Roma, this season to not just finish in the top 4. They actually could have made a very unlikely Scudetto push if they had something. I'm not talking about just buying big name players. I'm talking about something to give him a chance to kind of get the best out of this. Because if you look at the number of goals conceded, if they had a proper number 9 from the beginning of the season, they probably have 8 to 12 points more. And that puts them way higher.
Yeah.
And so I
have to push you on them because I really have to go. So the rest of the fixtures: Genoa 0, Udinese 2, Parma 0, Cremonese 2. Debut win for Giampaolo after Nicola Sakin, and Atalanta 1, Hellas Verona 0, and Bologna 0, Lazio 2. Let's preview Italy versus Northern Ireland. It's D-Day for Italy on Thursday. At the New Balance Arena in Bergamo. It's the World Cup 2026 qualifying playoff semi-final, the UEFA semi-final. Winner goes to the final to play either Wales or Bosnia and Herzegovina away in the final on Tuesday, the 31st of March. I'll go through the squads quickly. Italy squad: Caprile, Carnesecchi, Donnarumma, Meret. Defenders: Bastoni, Buongiorno, Calafiori, Cambiasso, Coppola, Di Marco, Gatti, Mancini, Palestra, Scalvini, Spinazzola. Midfielders: Barella, Cristante, Frattesi, Locatelli, Pizzilli, Sonali, and the forwards: Chiesa, Esposito, Keane, Politano, Raspadori, Retegui, and Scamacca. The players that are injured are not there: Vicario, Di Lorenzo, Leoni, Udogi, Zaccagni, Scamacca.
He's pulled out.
Has potentially pulled out, but I'm seeing reports this morning that isn't actually official yet, so we'll see there. And also Bastoni has a bruised fibula and will have tests, and Mancini picked up an injury for Roma against Lecce and will also have tests. So recording this on Monday, so let's see. Now the new players that get called up: Palestra gets his first senior call up. Chiesa's back after nearly 2 years. Pizzilli and Scalvini are also back in for the first time in a while. Right, my reaction to the squad is, look, I would have called Kayode. I would have called an extra winger because we only have 2 wingers, which means we can't start with a winger system. It means we can only kind of bring on wingers to kind of rescue the game. And it suggests to me that 3-5-2 will certainly be the formation we use. What's your reaction to Italy's squad? Did you like it?
Well, I'm reading reports now that Chiesa's pulled out of the squad and Cambiaghi has been called up.
No.
And I don't know what that is. Yeah, he says, I see now Sky. Chiesa is ritenuto non disponibile. And Cambiaghi's been called up instead. I don't know if that's an injury or if he's pulled out. If he's pulled out, he should never play for the Italian national team again. That's that simple. I mean, if Chiesa is behaving, he's deemed unavailable. It says, I don't know what deemed unavailable means. And
I think it's got to be, it's got to be a bit of an injury. Yeah, Chiesa non al meglio, so he must be physically. He must not be physically at his best.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then that means and Cambiaghi being called up instead. I don't know. This suggests to me that I would have had Michael Coyote for sure. I would have definitely have Michael Coyote, but at the end of the day, does it really matter? Because the other players that are there, and I mean, I would have had him in the squad, but I'm not like it's not like one of those instances where if if Coyote's not called up, Italy don't make it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think he's a great player. I think he deserves to be in the squad. I'd like to see him ushered in to perhaps fight for a starting lineup, but it's not the end of the world, if that makes sense. What is, however, really really worrying, I like is
Chiesa,
what I
sorry,
am.
just to stop you there. Chiesa actually reported to Coverciano, and they tested him, and he was deemed
Okay.
not fit enough. So he did actually go there. He didn't just like
Okay.
call from Liverpool and say no, I'm not playing. So yeah,
Okay. So they've
obviously,
tested him. So there's a physical problem. Then he's there, and they've tested, and he's not fit.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
I don't know whether I would
yeah,
have called Zaniolo after that amazing assist that he got at the
yeah.
weekend, but I guess
I
they
don't
need
understand.
somebody that can play on that side as well, because they've only got on the wings. They've got Politano on one side, and they needed a left-sided player. But come on, if we're desperate to rescue the game, we're going Politano and Cambiaghi on the wings. Then then I think we are really desperate. So yeah.
Yeah, and also another thing I'm worried about is I'm worried that he's going to play a 3-5-2, a system he doesn't control, because I think this squad, the players you have, this formation is a 3-5-2, but I don't think the coach knows how to play a 3-5-2. This is, again, it's been like this pretty much since Mancini left, and it's starting to frustrate me. It's really starting to frustrate me now, because these are just simple unforced errors. Like, don't if you have a system, again, what we talked about before, find an identity, find even a formation that you want, and then bring in the manager that suits that. Have a red thread, and they don't, and now it's too late. Now here we are at the end of March, the World Cup playoffs are going to start, and you still don't know what the formation is. I don't know, man.
I mean, listen, if we go to Italy's probable 11, I'll tell you what it's likely to be, and then let's both say who we would play, right? So the probable 11 is 3-5-2. I mean, that is for certain it's going to be a 3-5-2, because you've just got to look at the players he's called up in the squad.
Yeah.
And you've got to look at the lack of wingers, wide options that there are. Your only two wingers are Politano and Cambiaghi. I mean, you're not playing a winger system. They're going to be there as maybe, if you're absolutely desperate and you just want to throw everyone on and go maybe 4-2-4 and just put on two wingers. I don't know. That's what they're there for. I don't even see the point of them being there, but anyway, for a winger system. But anyway, 3-5-2. Donnarumma in goal. Mancini, Bastoni, Calafiori, if they're fit. Mancini and Bastoni are having tests to see. Politano, Barella, Locatelli, Tonali, Di Marco. So Politano and Di Marco, the wing backs. Barella, Locatelli, Tonali, the centre mids, and then Retegui and Keane. Now that's the probable 11. The team I would play. So if I was the Italy manager, I would go 4-4-2. I would go Donnarumma, Palestra, Bastoni, if fit. Otherwise, Coppola, Calafiori, Spinazzola at left back, then Barella, right midfield, Tonali and Locatelli, centre midfield, Di Marco, left midfield, and then Keane and Retegui. The reason I would pick that team is because the same reason as you said, I don't trust Gattuso being capable of using a 3-5-2, and we've seen actually whenever Italy have used a 3-5-2, it's been pretty disastrous across multiple managers now, and we saw it in the last game against
because
Norway.
they don't appoint a manager that can play a 3-5-2.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the problem.
That's why I would use the 4-4-2, because we haven't got the wingers good enough to play a 4-3-3. So there's no point me sitting here and saying let's play a 4-3-3 and let's put Politano and Cambiago as the wingers. They're just not. We're not going to be strong enough to break down the opponents. So I would go 4-4-2, and Barella can play as this kind of hybrid right centre midfield / right midfield. He often plays there anyway when he's supposed to be playing centre midfield, and at least he'll protect Palestra, and we'll let Palestra be the kind of the bombing player going forward and getting at and which he can do, and let Barella be protective. And then on the other side, I don't want DiMarco at left back because I don't trust him defensively. I think Spinazzola, although Spinazzola is not the strongest defensively, he's better than DiMarco defensively. And I want to have DiMarco further up the pitch where he can put in those crosses to Keane and Retegui.
I would play the same team, but instead of Spinazzola, I'd have Calafiori at left back. I'd have Bastoni, Coppola in the middle, and Palestra. And the reason for that is because I would like to have. I don't want to have Spinazzola and DiMarco on the same wing. I think that's a little bit. I don't think you get balanced that way. But with Barella, Tonali, and Locatelli, it's a 4-4-2 off the position, like on the pitch, just without possession. But in possession, it actually transforms to a 3-5-2 because when Tonali and Locatelli, one of them, when they drop deep and protect the defense, you have Barella and Tonali or Locatelli kind of covering in front. Then you have Palestra and DiMarco charging forward. And Calafiori or Bastoni, whoever plays left back, can actually can overlap if needed when you're playing against a team that is defending deep the way that Northern Ireland we expect them to do. So it's I would go this way, but the only difference is I would play either DiMarco or Spinazzola as a left midfield, but not both of them. That's the only difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good point about being able to use move into a back three, but also, I guess, also dependent on the opponents. Like against Northern Ireland, who I think we know how Northern Ireland are going to play. We're going to have the ball. They're going to be put a low block, defend, try and counter attack, and do we need that extra centre back against a team like that? Probably not. But against Wales, away from home, or even Bosnia, you're away, you probably do. Maybe you do need that more. So I would maybe lean more towards yours in that game, if we get there, hopefully. And against Northern Ireland, be a little bit more, attacking. But, listen, we'll see. There's obviously the injuries. There's Bastoni. Let's see how fit he is. I think it's a bizarre one. That he's only got a bruise, and he's been out for this long. That doesn't really make much sense to me. It'd have to be really severe bruising to be out for this long with a bruised fibula. It sounds strange to me. Internal bruise.
Oh, what you're telling me? You're telling me that Inter lie about their players' injuries? Whatever do you mean? I mean, it's ridiculous.
What's the point? It's just weird. I don't get it. But yeah.
Nothing will ever beat Lukaku's back next week for 6 months. I mean, that is just like, that's when, at that point, when that happened, I was like, I'm done. And then he, being an idiot that he is, comes out after Inter have reached the Champions League final against Milan at the San Siro and says, yeah, I had a really serious injury for the first time in my career. So it's like, I'm done. I don't believe a damn word they say until he's actually on the pitch. The same thing with Lautaro. Until he's actually on the pitch, I don't give a shit how many times Gazzetta or Corriere or Tuttosport says Lautaro is back against Fiorentina. Lautaro is back against Roma. No, until he's standing there on the pitch, I don't believe it, because Inter lie about injuries.
Yeah. Okay. Moving back to the game. I mean, Northern Ireland. Conor Bradley is injured. That's a big blow for Northern Ireland. He's an important player. Daniel Ballard is a potential doubt because he got his hamstring strain for Sunderland. In terms of Northern Ireland's team, they'll be a 5-3-2 as 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, but more of a 5-3-2 as well. So both teams kind of doubling up each other, which is interesting. Connor Hazard in goal plays for Plymouth Argyle, who are a mid-table team in League One. That's the third tier. And then they've got McConnell from Norwich City. He's an interesting player. Paddy McNair and Kieran Brown. They're playing in the second tier for Hull and Oxford. Then you've got Jamal Lewis. You've got Try Hume, who's a good player. He plays for Sunderland in the Premier League. Midfield, Brad Leons plays for Kilmarnock in the Scottish Premier League. Galbraith of Swansea in the English Championship. McDonald plays for Oxford as well. And then in attack, Jamie Donnelly and Isaac Price, who play for West Brom. So, Dion Charles as an option, Huddersfield. So we're talking about a team that's made mostly of Championship, League One, Scottish League players with the odd Premier League player there, here or there. So, really, even for all Italy's troubles, there's no excuses. Italy's form guide, not really much to read into it because they're playing against weak opposition, other than obviously the 4-1 defeat at home to Norway. They've been scoring a lot of goals, but they've also been conceding a lot of goals. And as for Northern Ireland, they have been up and down, but their games have been generally low scoring recently. They only lost 1-0 to Germany, lost 1-0 to Slovakia. They beat Luxembourg 1-0. So, Italy shouldn't expect to just go there and blow them away. Odds are Italy 1-4, draw 18-5, Northern Ireland 8-1. My prediction, I'm saying 2-1 Italy. That's what I'm going for. So I don't care though. As long as we get to the World Cup.
I think Italy win this 2-0. I don't think they concede in this game. I think they win 2-0. I'm not too worried about this. I don't think it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be it's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be annoying and gut wrenching and whatever. But I do think they get 1 or 2 goals in and they win. I really think so.
Okay, right. Baggio, Premface, and Serie ASS of the week. So, Baggio, who you got? Do you have anyone for Baggio?
Yes, Pavlovic's goal is a Baggio. It's stunning. It's absolutely wonderful strike.
I'll give a shout out to Bologna for their winning in the Europa League. I'd say well done to them.
Crazy game.
They lost to Lazio the weekend, but they
were exhausted.
They're all in now. Yeah, they're all in now on the Europa League. So
I hope they win it. I really like just go all the way.
They got Aston Villa next, so it's going to be very
probably going to leave. Yeah, probably going to.
If they can win that, then it's on. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right, Premface of the week. We've got some fantastic ones this week. So first of all, we have Jason Cundy or Jason Cunty, who says that Pele wouldn't get into Arsenal's team. He also said that Bukayo Saka is better than Pele was, and he said that Pele was unproven because he never played in the Premier League.
I mean, it's he's taking the piss now.
We don't really know how good he was. This is exact words.
No, we don't. We do, Jason. We do. But it's just. I think he's trolling. He's got to be trolling now. He's got to be trolling now. They know they get a rise out of people when they say this stuff, and it's like it's so obvious that he's trolling. I mean, I really think with that, he's not that good of an actor. I saw the clip. He doesn't believe a word that he's saying. It's not like that. What's his name? Rory the Tory or whatever you call him, who goes around. It's the Haaland. He actually believed that shit. Like you can tell when he was saying it, he was convinced that he was like saying truths. He was dropping facts. He believed that about Haaland, but no, I think Jason
Haaland wouldn't score 15 goals all season.
Yeah, and
he did it by the end of August.
Yeah, exactly.
By the end of August, he'd already done it.
God. It was hilarious. But
okay, the other Premface of the week. We've got 3. I'm going to save the second one for next week because it deserves more time. Gary Neville, your other favourite. Who said that Argentina should be stripped of the 1986 World Cup and the trophy given to England, following the precedent sent by the AFCON, who gave it from Senegal and gave it to Morocco. And he said that the precedent set by that means that the hand of God goal scored by Diego Maradona meant that England should be given the 1986 World Cup trophy.
It wasn't in the final; it was in the quarterfinal. Like, how does he? Like, what is he talking about? Like, this makes no sense. Like, even I mean, it's like, yeah, but it doesn't make any sense because if I remember correctly, then they have to play Belgium in the semi-final. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's no like, no. If it was the final, I would understand that kind of thinking because it's like, okay, you won by a goal that shouldn't have stood in the final, but this was a quarter-final game. And also, lest we forget, Maradona scored the goal of the century. It's just, God. Can Parliament pass an act that says that every time Gary Neville wants to speak, it has to be vetted by someone who has an IQ above room temperature, so that the rest of us like don't have to suffer like this kind of literally every time he speaks, I feel like my brain cells are committing ritual Japanese suicide. Like it's just the stupid look on his face as well. Like it's just I just can't. Like everything about him is just screams just. Nah, I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. I really
something
can't deal with it.
Something I can't deal with is the Serie A of the week this week, which is Juventus and their famed content creator team. Now, this was sent in by Adriano Rizzo, who you know as well. Now, let me just paint.
He's a Juve fan. He's one of our listeners.
He's a Juventus fan. And he gets as triggered as I do by the.
I know.
Juventus
it's very, very funny.
I think all Juventus fans do. Adriano Del Monte, when I sent this to him, he went absolutely berserk.
Ballistic, didn't he? Yeah, I know.
So let me paint the picture. Juventus are 5th in Serie A. They look like they're not going to make the Champions League. They've been in a banter era on and off the pitch for over half a decade now. And what content are they producing on social media this past week? Well, Kenan Yildiz and this Belgian influencer called Celine DDT or something. And they play this game. They play this game where Yildiz and this influencer, they both hit a nail into a tree log, and the winner is the one who gets the full nail in first. That's the game they played. Now, I mean, I don't know what this. I don't know these youngsters nowadays. They find these kind of games excited. Are they interested? I don't know. But anyway, last week the Juve players played a game on how cooked they like their toast. That's the game they played last week. And the week before, also posted on the social media, they played a game where the Juventus fans answered the question on whether they wear socks in bed or not. So this is what this once great football team has become now. It's putting out this kind of social media content on their channels at the time when Juventus are in a historic banter era and they're not even going to qualify for the Champions League. It's just, I mean, it's just embarrassing. This is their window to the world, and this is how they come across to the world. And I want to go further as well.
Of course you do. Of course you do. I love how this sets off things in motion. It's like it sets off like a nuclear reaction with you. Like it starts with socks in bed and it ends up in this like, the world is going to hell.
Because this kind of represents the worst.
Oh, there we go.
This represents the worst of the content that I see being produced by the younger generation today. What is happening to the young generation? Seriously, honestly, I'm not saying they're all like that, but I'm saying that there's too many of them. There's an overwhelming majority now of the young generation that this is the shit that they consume. Like, is this what they consider entertainment? Like, brain rot is actually a real thing. That's like been scientifically proven that the young generation, whether it's because of their phones, because of technology, like they are becoming dumber, and like this is the stuff that they consume. Like, honestly, like I mean, I don't mean to come across as horrible because I deal with a lot of young people, and there's lots of great people. I'm not saying they're bad people. They're not bad people. It's not their fault. But there's an overwhelming majority that they have no social skills, that they're weak, they cry and shout about like mental health whenever they're under the smallest bit of pressure. And like is this the stuff that they really consume? Like, do they really watch a game of two people hitting a nail into a tree log, and they and like a football club, a global football club, put it out to serve the younger audience? Like what? I mean, what kind of world? I mean, I think I sent you a voice note on this last week, and you were laughing your head off. Like, it's like we're moving into a real life Planet of the Apes. Like, anyone that's watched the film Planet of the Apes, right? The humans become dumb and forget how to communicate and talk, right? And the apes become smart and they go on to rule over the humans, who become slaves to the apes. Now, like, I feel like this is actually what is happening in real life now. Like, at least on the human side. And in the case of Juventus, it's like this creator lab, like the people running their marketing and this creator lab and social media, like they're like the old apes now. Or maybe they're the humans becoming the apes. I don't know, like, which one they are. Like, it could be one or the other. Like Yildiz and this Belgian influencer, Celine DDT, like hitting a nail into a tree trunk. I mean, it just kind of sums everything up, doesn't it? Am I taking things too far here? Am I like going a bit far? Like, or am I like onto something? Because
oh my God,
I watched the stuff that Juventus putting out. And maybe Juventus are just worse than everyone else. Maybe they are. Maybe they're worse than everyone else. But how
I don't know.
this...
Yeah, I don't know. I had what's his name? Inter had that. What's his name? That idiot, the naked chef or whatever he is.
They got him as well.
Oh. Yeah, they had him and some Italian chef as well doing some cake, which I don't understand. Who is this content for? Like, just like who's watching this? It's not like when you watch. It's not like they were handing out a recipe. Like, I don't understand what is the point. Like,
well, exactly. Like, even Juventus, if Juventus think that this is going to win over a younger audience because the younger audience are all apes and they actually enjoy this stuff, then that's one thing. But is it going to win over the audience that you want to win over? Like, how does this convert into sales or into selling merchandise? Yildiz hitting a nail on the head into a tree log with this.
It doesn't.
Do you think young fans are going to sit there and they're going to say, "Oh my God, did you see that video where Yildiz was hitting a nail into the tree log? Oh, we're going to go out and buy a Juventus shirt now. Oh, we're going to come to Juventus Stadium." Maybe it does. Maybe I'm so out of touch with the young generation that this is the shit they do. I don't know, but it's just like, it's actually insane. And all the while, Juventus are a laughing stock and a banter era, and they're not going to qualify for the Champions League, and they're putting out this content. And I see on LinkedIn these idiots from Juventus on LinkedIn say, "Oh yeah, we've done 200,000 impressions. Oh, and we went to the we funded a mission to the moon. Oh, look how great we're doing." You know, all the while they don't have a sponsor. They don't even have a sponsor on their shirt. You know, it's like, oh my God, like. Anyway, I need to go to work. Hopefully no apes will come in today.
Oh my God, that is top 5 greatest rants on this pod ever. That was brilliant.
Is it up with your one? Is it up with your one?
Oh my days, that's brilliant. The Planet of the Apes thing.
When we were young, that age, honestly, I speak for when I was 18, 19, if I'd have seen someone playing a game with hitting a nail into the head, I'd just said, "What the fuck is this nerd doing?" Like, that's what I mean. That's what I would do. You know, I would look at that. You're hitting a nail into a tree log. Oh, I would just think, oh, they're nerds. Like, you know, that's all I would think of it.
Oh my days! Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
it's not cool. You know.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know who this content is for. I don't get who. I don't get who it's for. Like, what's the point? Like, does it lead to sales? Who is it for? Is it just to grow fans or subscribers on Instagram? And that in turn, what does that do? Because as we all know, Instagram and these platforms, they just show the content they want to show, and they don't really care about the number of subscribers you can have 1 million subscribers, and if you don't put out the content that they want you to do, the algorithm suppresses it. So I don't understand. Like, I genuinely don't.
Social media is a great thing for any business. If we're calling Juventus a business, we're calling Italian clubs businesses, right? It's a great thing for business, but your target audience has to be the right target audience.
Yeah,
and it has.
And you have to communicate with them. You have to communicate,
and it has to
with them
convert
the
into
right way.
sales. If it doesn't convert into sales, it's a complete
waste of time.
Complete waste of time. It's like with the cake shop, right? I could put stuff out on our social media that would get millions of views, but it would drive no sales if it's got nothing to do with cakes. You know, I could put out some. You know, it's a waste of time. So, do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I think the numbers speak for itself financially. On that, this is doing nothing because Juventus, like look at Juventus's sponsorship revenue, how it's nosedived. You know, in the last, it didn't even have a shirt sponsor. You know,
they have to be saved by Jeep, which is an internal solution essentially inside the same company.
And it's far less. Have a look at the numbers Juventus are putting up compared to Milan and Inter. They're miles off, and that was with an internal sponsor as well. Yeah. Let alone an actual one, a real one. Yeah. You know. Anyway, right. I need to run.
Mental.
We'll be back on. So this week we'll be back on. We'll have the. We might have a special video out for you on Wednesday, actually. A mini documentary on our YouTube page. So watch out for that. It's on the final day of the 2001-2002 season, which we put together with actual footage from that game. And me and Nimra put together a little mini documentary where we're narrating it and talking on it. So watch that. I think it's really good. And I think you'll enjoy it. It's only 10 minutes long. It's just a mini documentary. And then Nima, you're going to do a Thursday post-match on...
after the Northern Ireland game. And then when's the match?
We're going to do the Q&A. We're going to do a Q&A. We're probably going to do it from next Monday because there's no games at the weekend. So we'll probably hold that.
When's the final?
Tuesday. Next Tuesday. So we'll have something for that as well.
Hopefully. We'll do a post-match on that. And if not, we'll probably do a post-mortem or something. We've got content coming up. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. We'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.